There are probably not one most important reason, but a number. Going into the crisis, they had high levels of capital, and they had good quality capital. So we had a rule that all institutions had to be above 7% Tier 1, and we said that 75% of that Tier 1 had to be common equity. So when the crisis began, investors and analysts started looking at the capital ratios of banks around the world and started to notice that the tangible common equity ratios of many institutions was very low. In Canada, it was very high. So that gave Canadian banks a leg up, and then they were able to raise more capital as well from the private markets, which was extremely important. Other institutions didn't have that access, and that played a role in government bailouts. If you have no access to private markets, you don't have a lot of places to turn. The business that the institutions, major banks were in, tended to be less risky. And is that due to their skills as risk managers? I think yes. I would also like to think that it also reflected OSFI's activities over a number of years and the amount of oversight that those institutions received. The leverage ratio is another feature that we think was important. We had a leverage ratio that was quite robust, and some other countries had leverage ratios as well. They were not all designed the same, so some, I would say, performed better than others, and ours was, as I say, fairly robust, and we're now talking at the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision about what kind of leverage ratio might be workable around the world and might be robustly constructed. Canadian banks are probably more conservative. They certainly took less risks. I think they showed that, generally speaking, they had good risk management in place. But culture is a very hard thing to nail down. Every office has a culture. Every bank has a culture. And I don't know. I mean, it's very difficult. I know that another aspect of all this that intrigues me is how the regulator relates to the institutions that they oversee. And at OSFI, we have a small system. I mean, if you need a change, you make 5 phone calls. We have a very open relationship with our institutions. The door is open. We expect them to tell us everything. And it works for us. We do stress testing all the time, both of banks and life insurance companies. We do not release the results bank by bank. All that information is confidential. Actually, private analysts who analyze banks do their own stress testing because their business is looking at all the public information available and making judgments about what they see. Their stress tests would be public, but all the work that OSFI does stays within OSFI. In the good times, you always have to worry about whether you're at the top of the cycle or which is maybe not the good times. You think it's the good times, but it's not. In the bad times, you have to worry about have you hit bottom? What exactly are you buying? Do you really understand that portfolio, or is it something where you're going to get surprised after you've bought it? So you have to put a lot of emphasis on your due diligence process. So from OSFI's perspective, we look at it neutrally, really. You can make a big mistake in good times, and you can make a big mistake in bad times. And you can also make very good acquisitions in good times and in bad times. And so for us, it's really, you know, show us what you plan to do and why you think this is a good idea. You know, if an institution overpays, that's not really a big issue for us. It's, you know, that happens. It's really, once this acquisition is done, what kind of impact does it have on your capital? And does it stretch your management team? Do we have to increase our supervision because, you know, we think that your management team is stretched? Have they ever done an acquisition before? There's a lot of questions that you do need to ask. And I think Canadian institutions have learned a lot about, particularly about expanding in the U.S. You think it's the same market? It's not. That's not to say that we're perfect either. I think that we use those meetings, those international meetings, to learn from others, and you know, a lot of lessons are being learned, and the risk for us is that people become complacent and think that no changes are needed, and I think you have to be very conscious of that.